You know that automatic transmission in your car? It feels indestructible, right? Just slide it into drive and let the magic happen. But what if I told you that some of the simple things you do every day are secretly waging a war on its internal components? We're not talking about crazy, reckless driving. We're talking about tiny habits that could be setting you up for a repair bill that runs into the thousands of dollars. Today, we're breaking down the 6 golden rules you absolutely must follow to keep your automatic gearbox happy, healthy, and, most importantly, out of the repair shop for years to come. First up, let's talk about the single most destructive thing you can do to your transmission. Our first golden rule: master your parking and stopping etiquette. So many expensive failures begin in the last few seconds of a drive. Have you ever been in a rush and shifted into park while the car is still rolling, even just a tiny bit? When you do that, you're forcing a tiny metal pin called a parking pawl to stop the entire weight of your vehicle. Imagine trying to stop a rolling bowling ball with just your little finger. That's what you're asking this part to do. It was never designed for that. It's meant to lock the transmission only when the car is completely stationary. Hear a grinding or clunking noise when you shift into park? That's the sound of the pawl screaming for mercy and a sign that you're causing serious damage. The fix is simple. Come to a complete stop with your foot on the brake before ever touching that P on your shifter. And speaking of stopping, how often do you use your parking brake? If the answer is only on steep hills, you're doing it wrong. That little parking pawl we just talked about, when you park without the handbrake, especially on any kind of incline, the entire weight of the car rests on that one small component. Using your parking brake every single time you park transfers the load from the delicate transmission internals to the robust braking system. It's a simple habit that takes the strain off your gearbox. Our second golden rule is all about the lifeblood of your vehicle: mastering your fluids. Let's start with the most neglected fluid of all, the transmission fluid itself. Some people think it's a lifetime fluid. That is a very expensive myth. For most cars, you should be thinking about a fluid and filter change around every 80,000 kilometers. Fresh transmission fluid is a bright, translucent red and has almost no smell. If you check yours and it's turned brown or has a burnt toast smell, it's long overdue. This fluid is what lubricates all the high-speed gears and clutches, and crucially, it keeps the system cool. Old, broken down fluid leads to overheating and catastrophic failure. But it's not just about the fluid inside the transmission, it's also about what you put in the fuel tank. Running your car on empty is a terrible idea. Your fuel pump is located inside the gas tank, and it relies on the surrounding gasoline to stay cool. When you run the tank dry, the pump overheats, drastically shortening its life and setting you up for a pricey replacement. Not only that, but you're also telling the pump to suck up all the sediment and gunk that settles at the bottom of the tank, which can clog your fuel filter and harm the entire system. And the final fluid sim: driving through deep water. Those puddles after a rainstorm can be a death sentence for a transmission. The vent holes on a gearbox are often surprisingly low, and if water gets in, it mixes with your transmission fluid to create a useless, milky milkshake that completely destroys the clutch packs inside. There's no coming back from that without a full rebuild. The third golden rule is simple: show some respect for the shifter itself. A lot of us have a habit of just resting our hand on the gear selector while driving. It feels natural, like a built-in armrest, but what you're actually doing is putting constant, unnecessary pressure on the entire selector mechanism. Over time, that slight weight can cause premature wear on the bushings and forks inside the transmission, leading to sloppy shifting and other issues down the road. The gear selector is a tool, not a handrest. Use it to select a gear, then get both hands back where they belong, on the steering wheel. An even worse habit is what I call the rock and roll shift, frantically switching between drive and reverse while the car is still moving, trying to get out of a tight spot or a snowbank. This is like delivering a gut punch to your drivetrain. The sudden reversal of force puts an incredible amount of stress on the transmission bands, clutches, and gears. Modern cars have some electronic safeguards to prevent the worst of the damage, but you are still sending a shockwave through the entire system. Always, always come to a full and complete stop before shifting from a forward gear to a reverse gear or vice versa. Next, our fourth golden rule is to drive smarter, not harder. Let's bust a huge myth right now. Coasting down a hill in neutral does not save you fuel. In fact, it does the opposite and is incredibly dangerous. Modern cars are smart. When you're in drive and you take your foot off the gas to go down a hill, the engine's computer cuts off the fuel supply to the injectors. The wheels are turning the engine, not the other way around. You are literally using zero fuel. When you shift into neutral, you're forcing the engine to start using fuel again just to keep itself idling. More importantly, you've completely disconnected the engine from from the wheels, meaning you lose all engine braking. This puts the entire job of slowing the car on your brake pads and rotors, causing them to heat up and wear out much faster. You lose control for the sake of a myth. Another part of driving smarter is resisting the urge to do hard, aggressive launches from a standstill. Stomping on the gas pedal from zero puts immense strain on everything from your engine mounts to your suspension components and, of course, the transmission itself. A little fun now and then is fine, but making a habit of it is just asking for premature wear and tear. This also applies to low traction situations like snow. Spinning your wheels wildly doesn't get you out, it just digs you in deeper and dangerously overheats your transmission. Instead, gently apply power, use a low gear if you have one, and try to use materials like cat litter or floor mats to gain traction. Our fifth golden rule deals with the dangers of standing still. We're talking about idling. Think about when you're at a long red light. Do you keep your foot on the brake with the car in drive? Most of us do. While it seems harmless, it's actually creating a lot of heat. With the car in drive, the torque converter is still trying to transfer power from the engine to the wheels, but your brakes are stopping it. This fight generates a ton of friction and heat. On a hot day, just a few minutes of this can raise your transmission fluid temperature by 10 to 15 degrees. Over time, this constant cycle of extra heat breaks down the fluid and wears out internal components. The simple solution? For any stop longer than 15 or 20 seconds, just pop it into neutral. This disengages the torque converter, lets the transmission relax, and allows the fluid to cool down. This is especially true for long periods of idling in general. In diesel engines, for example, extended idling can cause unburnt fuel to seep past the piston rings and dilute the engine oil, reducing its ability to lubricate properly. If you're going to be waiting for more than a minute, it's often better for both your engine and transmission to just shut the vehicle off. And finally, our sixth and most important golden rule is this: you have to listen to your car. It's constantly trying to talk to you. Those warning lights on your dashboard aren't just there for decoration. They are your car's way of screaming for help before a small issue becomes a massive, wallet-draining disaster. A transmission temperature light, an oil pressure light, or a check engine light are all urgent signals that something is wrong. Ignoring them is like ignoring a fire alarm in your house. Get the car checked out immediately. But listening isn't just about seeing lights. It's also about feeling. On a cold morning, your car needs a minute to wake up, just like you do. The transmission fluid gets thick in the cold, almost like molasses. If you just jump in, start the car, and immediately drive off, you're forcing the transmission to work with this thick, sluggish fluid, putting a huge strain on its internal pump and valves. Just give it a minute. Let the engine idle for 60 seconds. That's all it takes for the fluid to warm up, thin out, and circulate properly. This one tiny bit of patience on a cold day can add years to the life of your transmission. So there you have it. 6 simple rules that can make all the difference. What's the worst transmission mistake you've ever seen someone make? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. If this guide was helpful, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.